We are now recording. So this will be available on our website and our YouTube channel for future watching and rewatching. And if you need closed captioning, use the button at the bottom of your screen that says CC, and the captions will appear on your device. I believe that is all of the announcements for now, for today. So with that said, I introduce to you today's speaker, Liz Conaway. Liz is a social worker, which means she's awesome. And Liz and I work together at Jewish Family Services, which is where I got to know for sure that she is awesome. Liz has 16 years of experience working with older adults and has a real love, I can attest to this, to working with people with dementia and other memory care challenges. Besides being an amazing social worker, Liz is a roller skater, a pet mom, a longtime ocean lover, a fellow Californian like me, and she's done something that I, as a Californian, have never done. She has surfed. So a woman of many talents is Liz. Since August of 2023, she has been the director of the Alternatives Employee Appreciation. Yes, right? Employee Assistance Program. And that's what Liz is going to tell you and me. Okay, I think my computer froze, but I'm back. Is everybody good now? Yes? Okay, Liz, you can unmute yourself and I'll turn it over to you. This is why we make everybody else a co-host in case that happens.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Kelly, for having me, and thank you for the wonderful introduction. Like Kelly said, I'm going to talk about employee assistance programs. I'm going to give you some information about EAPs, I'll also call them in general, and tell you some specifics about alternatives. And I'm going to share my screen. Give me one moment to do that. Okay, so like Kelly mentioned, I'm with Alternatives EAP. We're based right here in Kansas City. We've been here for 25 years. And most of our clients that we work with are here in the Midwest, but we also have clients throughout the country, even and actually one in Canada. Employee assistance programs, they are programs designed to serve organizations. So thinking usually businesses or social service agencies, nonprofits, non-governmental organizations, government organizations, essentially people's workplaces and their employees in lots of different ways. And it ranges from kind of high level consultation strategy to individual support to employees and their family members, especially as people are experiencing personal difficulties. That's kind of a high level definition of exactly what an EAP program is. And I'll give you a little bit of the history. I thought this was interesting to research. So these started back in the late 1800s, and they started because people drank at work a lot. People drank alcohol on the job a lot. I was not entirely familiar with that concept. And this became very problematic for some employees, some member of organizations. So they started saying, okay, we've got to have something in place for when people are drinking on the job and they get out of control. We need to have some kind of intervention for that. And it started with saying, okay, the boss is going to order you like to go into treatment, which was generally like an asylum or an early stages inpatient kind of facility. If you were starting to have problems with alcoholism, and as our kind of treatment and understanding of alcohol use, drug use, all of that, mental health, well-being in general expanded. It moved from sending individuals away if they started having problems to bringing in resources to the workplace. And that's when we started seeing things like AA come around, and other sort of assistance programs like that. And then more recently, in the last 7,500 years, organizations started having their own internal employee assistance programs, thinking about like HR departments and expanded HR departments, peer support, coworkers helping each other. And then even more recently, then they started going towards using these external companies or external programs to provide that support. And there's a lot of benefits to that. It's great to have this offered through one's employer, but you may not want your employer to know or your coworkers to know everything that's going on in your personal life. And that's one huge benefit of the EAP. It is generally a benefit offered through one's job, but provided by a completely separate entity so that one's employer and coworkers never have to know that somebody called the EAP, used the EAP, etc. Okay, so that's my little history lesson on EAPs, why they exist, when they started. And then Alternatives is the specific company I work for. And we are a part of a larger social service agency called ComCare, which is here in the Kansas City area. And they have a handful of other lines of business and programs that they offer, including the one you may have heard of, and I hope if nothing else you leave knowing this, is they answer 988 calls for this area in Missouri. 988 is a phone number anyone standing anywhere in the United States can call, and they'll get a crisis support counselor at a center near them. And people can call if they're experiencing mental health crisis, if they're with somebody who's experiencing mental health crisis, etc. This just changed. There used to be a longer 800 number, and there's been a big movement to change it just to those 3 digits, 988, easy to remember, easy to tell someone about, easy to dial. And again, anyone, anywhere in the United States can call that number anytime, and they will get a trained counselor on the other end of the phone line with them. So specifically Alternatives, we have 50 client organizations that we partner with, and we provide this benefit to all of their employees with no copay or deductible for the employee. So for the employee, this is essentially free. And it covers that employee and their dependent family members. And I really want to highlight that, because if anyone on the call today is like, well, I don't have an employer because I'm retired or I'm a full-time caregiver or anything like that, we don't only serve the person that is employed by those organizations, but also anyone in their household. And a little secret is that we use that term household kind of loosely. So if you're thinking about, someone, do they qualify? Would they be on the program with me? It's always worth a shot to call and explain and ask. It's not so specific that we require like addressed mail or anything like that. And I'm sharing things about Alternatives, and I'm going to let you know if these things are generally true of EAPs across the board, or if they're specific to Alternatives. And so far, this is generally true of EAPs across the board. Employees can use us an unlimited number of times every year. And there's a little bit of a caveat to that, because it has to be for a different concern each time. So with the EAP, the biggest reason people call us is for mental health support and counseling. And depending on how we partner with their organization, they have a number of sessions. And it's generally 3 or 6 sessions, kind of designed to be short term, help somebody through a hard time, get them connected with more ongoing resources if necessary. But somebody can call and use those 3 or 6 sessions however many times they need to. If I'm feeling really stressed about my personal life right now in March and I call and use my EAP benefit, well, that doesn't mean come July or August, I'm not going to feel really down in the dumps and want to call again to talk about something completely different. And then, unlike some of those early programs we talked about, which were on the job, you know, employees, coworkers helping each other, we are completely confidential. We're an independent organization. Everything happens off-site from someone's employer, from the workplace. We keep our own records. The only thing that we tell employers or organizations is basically how many people called, how many people are using this benefit, and which of our services people are finding the most helpful, using the most often. And then EAPs generally have an intake process that goes a little something like this. I will tell you that I think we are special because we always have trained counselors who answer the phone. Depending on the nature of an EAP, you might get a receptionist, an intake person. But I mentioned being a part of ComCare and being a part of the organization that answers those 988 calls, because I really like to point out that it's those same trained counselors who answer our EAP calls. So no matter what kind of situation somebody's in, what kind of help they're reaching out for, they're always going to get one of those trained counselors. And they'll do a short intake. They'll gather a little bit of information. Again, none of which is going to go back to that caller's employer. And they'll use that to provide a referral. Most often, people call us because they want to receive some counseling services. And all of the counselors that we partner with use a solution-focused, goal-oriented kind of approach. So this is
Did we lose you, Liz? Am I still
okay.
here? Oh, there you are. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Okay. People go in knowing that they have a handful of sessions available. And then our counselors know that too, so they can use approaches that really help people work through those problems in the time that they have allotted. And we do have counselors that have in-person sessions as well as video counseling. And that is, I think, a little bit unique to alternatives because a lot of EAPs offer telephone counseling or telehealth only. But we do take pride in that we have people that can see folks face to face as well. And we find that because of the approach those counselors use, a majority of callers are saying that the problem that they called with is either resolved or at least dramatically improved at the end of those sessions. We offer Talkspace as well. So Talkspace is a form of therapy that you can access from a computer, cell phone, tablet, any kind of device that you use to access the internet. And it is kind of like traditional counseling done over video, but it also has the benefit of being able to send text messages and video messages, voice messages 24/7. It essentially is like having a therapist in your pocket because you can always reach out to them on your device and always get a response with them, as well as have formal appointments with them. Some of the other services that we offer, and I will tell you that these are services that people do not always take advantage of. So if you're thinking to yourself, hey, I have an EAP, definitely look into and see if these services are available to you because they can make a huge difference. And a lot of times people either don't know about them or don't reach out to use them. So we have life and health coaching, and that's if somebody is wanting to make improvements in an area of their life. They don't necessarily require mental health coaching or mental health support. I always say these people you call and they will act like a cheerleader and an accountability partner to you. We have legal advice and discounts through our program. Our one restriction is that if an employee is having a conflict with their employer, they can't reach out to an EAP for legal consultation for that reason, because it would get all kinds of messy, be a conflict of interest if they did. This is a program that we offer that so few people ever take advantage of, but it is a program where anybody who is covered by our EAP can call us if they are caring for an elderly family member. And we use the caregiver term very broadly. It could be someone in their household or even someone that they're providing support for who doesn't even live in their household or doesn't even live in the same state. And we will do some research and legwork on finding out what resources are available to that person and then get that back to that caller. And it can be anything from my mom needs a new doctor, I'm looking at nursing home placement for my grandma, really anything associated with aging, elderly care, we can help get people connected with. We have the same sort of service for people who are caring for children, and whether they're looking for daycare, childcare provider, or even someone who is looking to adopt a child. We offer that concierge resource to help people get connected with the resources they need. And then personal money management. And I always like to say that this is sometimes a good reason why people call the EAP. Oftentimes people call us if they're having a hard time going through something difficult. But sometimes people call us because they want to start retirement planning, or they're sending someone to college, or they want to start investing. And those can be good life events that we can help people through, positive life events. This is a program that I really think is unique to alternatives. I have not known any other EAP to offer a service like this. We want to keep employees healthy and happy so that they'll keep going to work and doing their job and being productive. And a service we offer is if an employee's been out and had too much to drink and would not be safe to get in their car and drive home, they can get their own taxi, Uber, Lyft, whatever they want to use, and we'll reimburse them up to $1 amount twice per year. That way they can get home safely, ideally get to work the next day, and go on about their lives without that having to be a huge event for them. For all of our employees, our covered employees, we have a website dedicated to them with thousands and thousands of articles, videos, podcasts, screening tools, all kinds of stuff, a monthly webinar on basically every aspect of health, whether it's physical health, family health, mental health. There is resources out there in a variety of languages, a variety of formats, and that's kind of a one-stop health shop website we offer to anyone who's covered by our services. And then we offer some special things for organizations, for managers, human resources departments, trainings. Most of our services are confidential, like I said, but we do have this process that we help organizations through, and it would be made very clear to the employee if they were a mandatory referral. Sometimes organizations do that as an alternative to having to have someone be in trouble or lose their job. We can participate in this process. So that was a very short, very brief overview of what EAPs provide. And if you're thinking to yourself, I wonder if my employer offers this, because this sounds amazing and I definitely want to take advantage. I hope that your employer does. And you can always look in your benefits information or reach out to your supervisor or HR contact, and they should be able to let you know if this is available to you and exactly how to get in contact with them. This is one of my favorite little things. I call this my happy dude. And it says the name of our organization, and he can sit on a desk, he can be a squeeze ball, he can hold a business card or a cell phone. And this is one thing that I love to give out to our client organizations, to give to their employees as just a little reminder that we're here for them. Thank you for letting me get through all of that information. I know that was a whole lot, and I'm really interested to know what questions there are.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Liz. And everybody, Liz gave me a sample, a selection of some of the little yellow guys. So if we are ever out and about and you see me, I would be happy to share. And speaking of Liz, I'm going to give people time to think of their questions, but I'll also do a little plug. Speaking of seeing me out and about, I'm happy to share with you that coming up next month in April, on April 11th, we are going to have the first of what we hope is a series of webinars that are in person and on Zoom. And so if you live or are in the Kansas City area on April 11th at our regular time, Thursday at 2 o'clock, we are going to be having a speaker that day. His name is Michael F. James. He's an author. He was a caregiver for his wife, and he wrote a lovely book about his experience that we thought you should know about. And so Mr. James is going to come from Nebraska to Kansas City at our Fairway Auditorium to talk with folks in person. So that's the time where you might get to see me in person, and I can bring some of the happy yellow guys that Liz was kind enough to give me. And stay tuned. We'll have more information about that in our upcoming My Alliance newsletters. So with that said, maybe I've given you all a few moments to think of their questions. And yes, Valerie has a question. Good timing, Valerie. In the chat, Valerie says, if a business would like to offer this EAP to employees, oh, the chat went away. I think the rest of the question was, what is required of them to do? So Liz, all yours.
I would love for that employer to call me. I would love to see if we can provide those services. But in actuality, that employer could reach out to any employee assistance program, or if they have an insurance broker that they work with for their health benefits in general, that insurance broker could likely help them connect to one. I am very proud of alternatives. So again, I say I would want them to call me to see what we could offer them. Somebody asked, is there a minimum number of employees? And I'm really glad that you asked, because we do not have a minimum number. Our smallest organization has 6 employees. Our largest has about 5,000. And that is a little bit unique to alternatives. Some companies are scared to work with organizations with a really small number of employees for a few different reasons, business stuff, but we're not. We say, call us. We want to know if we can work with you. No, there's no minimum.
Nice. Liz, a question that came up for me. I've known about employee assistance programs for a while, and of course, I've learned even more since I've known you. And I think we've talked, or we focused a lot on these programs for when someone might be a caregiver for a parent or a spouse or even a child, whatever the situation may be. Is it your experience that people might also call an EAP for themselves? Specifically, I think there are lots of reasons someone would call for themselves, but in the context of our environment here, where lots of folks on the call are thinking about brain health, I'm wondering if someone might call because they don't want to talk to their own family or for whatever reason. Can someone call your company and say, "Oh goodness, I'm concerned about my memory, and can you help me get into the KU ADRC?" They might not say that part, but is that something that happens?
Yeah, I'm really glad you asked. I shared about that elder care assistance, and we generally approach that from a standpoint of if you're a caregiver, but absolutely 100%. If somebody were thinking, well, I'm thinking about myself and needing a new doctor, wanting a geriatric specialist, yes, yes, absolutely.
That's so good to hear. Self-care is so important, right? So I want to remind everybody listening to this, take care of yourself first so that you can then take care of somebody else. And there's a new question in the chat, Liz. Can you talk to somebody 24/7?
You can. And that's something that I'm really excited about alternatives. I can't speak to every employee assistance program, but because the people that answer our phone lines are trained counselors, you absolutely can call and open up to that person, vent to that person, ask that person for resources in the immediate, and then you get linked with a therapy provider And if you choose to go through Talkspace, then you can use that Talkspace resource 24/7, again, to be connecting with a therapy provider.
Excellent. And it really is confidential. Nobody will know that you've called to ask for help. You can just get help however you need it by going through the appropriate channels. Yes, Liz says yes. Very good. Okay. Karen thought we were talking about the Mediterranean diet. I mean, well, we don't ever not talk about the Mediterranean diet. But no, today's program was from Liz Conaway about employee assistance programs. And Karen, if you'd like some information about the Mediterranean diet, you're welcome to email me at myalliance@kumc.edu, and I'd be happy to get you some information. Okay. Liz Mark says, who would we reach out to and how?
I would love.
Sorry, go ahead.
I would love it if you could pass along my contact information. And I can also include some links. There's something called the Employee Assistance Professional Association, which is the large national association. If somebody wants more information about EAPs in general, can pass along our website in case anyone's curious about looking at that.
Perfect. I'm going to put Liz's email in the chat. And if you don't get a chance to catch that, feel free to contact us at My Alliance, and I've got it, and would be happy to share. And I think I'll reiterate, if you don't mind, Liz, that if people want to know about their specific employer, they should talk to maybe the I was going to say human rights, but that's not right. Human resources, the human resources people. Is that right?
Yes.
Although it is your right to get support, right?
It absolutely is.
Okay.
I say EAP stands for everyone is a priority.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Well, very good. Any other questions or things you'd like to know from Liz about EAPs and accessing them? I think it's a really well-kept secret that such a benefit is available to so many people and at no charge. I know lots of times when we are thinking about the benefits we get at our employer, we think about money, of course, and we think about health insurance and we think about time off. But it's also super important to realize that employee assistance programs are available so that that good quality of life is achieved. And thank you, Liz, for putting the website in the chat. That's fantastic. So hopefully everybody gets a chance to just write that down, and or if you don't, feel free to give me a holler and I'll be happy to share the information. We've got a couple more minutes. So I will announce that next Thursday, our webinar topic will be Route to Research. And that is going to be all about how you or someone in your household or your family or your sphere can participate in research at KU-ADRC. After all, we are the Alzheimer's Disease Research Center, and we want you to participate in research. We've got lots of great studies going on that are looking at nutrition, exercise. I don't know if I've said enough that there's a hot tub study that's very exciting coming up. So lots of ways you can participate. There are also investigational trials for medications. There are trials for family members caring for someone with Alzheimer's, you name it. We also are really excited about some studies we're doing on people with Down syndrome. And we have a brain health and Down syndrome program that we're really excited about, including a trial for a potential vaccine for people with Down syndrome, a vaccine against Alzheimer's, which is great for that community. And also it's probably going to be very illuminating and helpful for figuring out if there might someday be a vaccine for Alzheimer's disease in the larger community. So all of that only happens because of research. So next Thursday, our recruitment team is getting together and they have put together some wonderful information about how to participate in research. We did a little practice session today, and it's really going to be great. If you've already participated in research and you called and talked to one of the recruitment folks, here's your chance to get to see them over Zoom. And they are a vital part to the success of our research and our participants. So join us next Thursday at 2:00 for Route to Research. One of the recruitment team members came up with that title, Ronnie. He said, do you want something that's going to ring a bell and really get people's attention? And I said, yes, always. So route to research it is. And the recruitment team will be telling us about that next Thursday at 2 o'clock. We'll have some more details in the upcoming My Alliance newsletter. Liz, thank you. I feel like you have assisted me extraordinarily today by talking about this program with me and all of our webinar folks. I will be processing this video later today so that it can be on the website as soon as possible in case you want to watch it again and or share the link with anybody you think might find it helpful. So with that said, I think we'll wrap up for today. Thank you so much again, everybody. Happy March. Have a great afternoon. And next week, we'll talk about research. Okay? Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.